Andrea.
Hi.
Hey. Okay, just you and I so far. See how many others have seen the notice.
Yeah.
I guess for Ben at least, this is the usual time slot.
Yes, indeed, should be. Hopefully easier.
How is your cat now? Is he doing okay?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a bit.
Not really enjoying his situation, I guess, or her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's. Yeah, I think he has this cone, and it's really frustrating because it alters his vision and movement and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. It's used to be
Grooming.
look around on this. Yeah. That's tough.
But yeah, I mean, he needs to leave his stitches alone. So
Is it for a week or how long?
yeah, it should be 7 to 10 days.
Okay. Tough. Yeah. Okay.
Bring up the agenda. Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining.
Hey. Hey.
Okay. Yeah, it's already 4 past. I think maybe we should get started. Maybe Ben will join later. We'll see. Just sharing the link to the notes in the chat. And yeah, so let's kick it off. Welcome everyone to the CDEvents working group. Today is October the 30th. And yeah, my name is Andrea Frittoli, pronounced he, him. I work for IBM. I'm in UTC. And yeah, daylight saving is officially over here. This week gap difference with US. But yeah, feel free to sign yourself in the attendees list if you'd like to. For the agenda today, we have a few items, but yeah, feel free to add to the list as we go. Action items from last week. I guess one was meeting time, so I updated this meeting time, even if it was a bit last minute. Hopefully, yeah, people will be able to find about it. I also created an issue about deprecations. Just, capture what we discussed, and then in general we agree for option 1, so documented and marked down. I also checked in JSON schema and the deprecations and notation that we could use. And once we start generating the markdown, then we could use to generate the deprecation notice in the markdown as well. So I guess, yeah, it's something to do for the future. Yeah, there was an action on Ben to add reviewers to the Spinnaker front-end PR. Don't know if there was an update on that. The last, so quickly about meeting, I wanted to mention, I added some Zapier automation. So now when I'm meeting, our recording is uploaded into the Zoom cloud. Then it is published automatically to YouTube, which used to be the case already. But then a notification is also sent to the CDEvent channel on Slack, so we can get the link from there. So that hopefully makes that more discoverable And Ben offered to copy these links back into the meeting notes, so we have easy to access meeting notes. Okay, so very quickly from Linux Foundation Member Summit, I wanted to bring a couple of updates. So last week I was there in Monterrey and I made a presentation about CDEvents and CDEvents in security for software factories. So I included a link to the chat, which includes the PDF with the slides as well, if anyone is interested. Unfortunately, presentations were not recorded, but yeah, there was, I think, good attendance to the session and a few questions. So I think it went well.
So sorry, how many people were there and who were there more or less? What was it? Something to say about the participants? Or what kind of people were there?
Yeah, so maybe about 20 people in the room.
Yeah.
20, 25 or so. So there was a very popular workshop running in parallel. But yeah, so in the room, in the conference in general, with like representative of different foundations, governing board for different foundations, and yeah, so representative for different companies involved in the Linux Foundation. For instance, there was a colleague from IBM which represent the Linux Foundation Edge, I think, project. They were interested. He was interested in the CDF, and so possibly CDEvents. So he reached out. So we had some. Dadizi was there from Apple. So we had Michael Lieberman was there as well from Corsari. And so we also had some chat about possible collaboration between CDEvents and a project called Guac, which is in the OpenSSF. Yeah, so and that was kind of the next topic I wanted to mention. So Guac is basically a project, an open source project within the OpenSSF or applying to the OpenSSF. I'm not 100% sure what the exact status is. That basically stores supply chain documents like attestations, SBOMs, and so forth. But they kind of need they need some kind of context about where and when this information was produced within CI/CD pipelines to provide like the full picture. And CDEvent would be a good fit and could provide that link. And so I put a link to a prototype like Michael has been working on. So I put the link in there, which uses some CDEvent schema. So let's see, I think, yeah. So this is basically taken from the CDEvent JSON schema and converted into OpenAPI or something like that, I think. And the idea is that that schema could be part of the overall API definition given by this SSAP, which is SDSL control plane standard, SDSL control plane API or something like that. It's an experiment, but yeah, it's just something I wanted to share with people, and I think it would be nice to maybe collaborate, build a POC that we can maybe show in future events. It would be good because we have this concept of evidence store where we want to store events anyways. So I guess maybe Guac could be one of the backends for pre-integrated backends for that.
Cool. I happened to make a search in the CNCF Slack forum for CDEvents, and I get quite some hits now actually in different channels in Slack. And one of them is a channel called AEP, which is, I guess, API enhancement proposals. So it seems that CDEvents is being discussed there. Is that something that some of you are aware of?
I don't think so. Where is it?
I could maybe paste the link to some of it. If you like. And there's also in this other OpenTelemetry Slack channel, there is some discussion about CDEvents as well. No.
Okay.
But you can search.
Good to know.
Yeah, so it's at least, yeah, it's worth searching there and then see what happens, what people are talking about.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's great. One of my slides, I mentioned different collaborations we have with CDEvents and other groups. That we're trying to collaborate with the OpenSSF. We have been working with the VSM and with the tag app delivery and a number of different groups. And later in the day, Lori, so the outreach committee lead for CDF, and that is Jay White, I think, from Microsoft. They had a talk together talking about collaboration across communities. And so they had a picture of slides from my presentation that they took in the morning and put it in their presentation as an example of cross-community collaborations.
Wow, cool. So were you there as a representative from, as a TOC chair or from governing board in CDF, or were you there from IBM in the summit?
Yeah, I was invited as a member of the GP board and chair of the TOC. Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Nice. And maybe since we are talking about collaborations, there's something that I wanted to mention. Don't know if folks have seen this. Just been launched. It's an initiative to bring some kind of interoperable alignment in the open about internal developer platforms, IDPs. So they're also about interoperability. And so IDPs are, I think, closely related to CI/CD. So I started a conversation with some of the folks involved, and we plan to have a meeting at KubeCon next week to discuss CDEvents and possible collaborations between Kano and CDF.
That's great. So speaking about KubeCon, I'm unfortunately not going myself there, but I hear then you're going there, Andrea. Right?
Yes, I will be there. There is a co-located event. It's called Cloud Native Telco Day.
Oh.
And I have a lightning talk about CDEvents there. But then I'll be there for the rest of the week as well.
Do you know of anything else in the summit there about that is related to CDEvents or anything like that at the moment?
No, not yet. But I will investigate, and if you learn about something, please let me know. I mean, apart from meeting with the Kano folks and discuss about CDEvents.
Yeah.
And I plan to reach out as we did in the past to different projects. Join the Argo booth, the Harbor booth, the Flux booth, and, meet people, maintainers in person there, and see if we can, help move forward with the integrations there. So that's my plan for KubeCon.
I have a question about integrations. Are there any existing integrations? Or is there like a document that lists any existing integrations for CDEvents?
Yes. So we have, we have a plugin for Jenkins, which is published to the official plugin repository. Then we have, there is an experimental controller for Tecton, which can produce CDEvents today. And I'm working with the Tecton community the proposal is accepted by the Tecton community, but I'm working on implementing official support for CDEvents there. Then on Spinnaker, the RFC has been approved and it's been implemented by Jalander from Ericsson, and I think it's getting closer to completion. Then we have TestCube. TestCube is also implemented. So the team at TestCube, they contributed the test events and they implemented in TestCube. So that's implemented in there. We have others. We have an RFC on Argo. We have an RFC for Harbor, which is a container registry in the CNCF. And it was quite positively received. Only there were some concerns about the different set of events which are available in the two projects. And so that's one of the things that I hope to resolve, maybe with some face-to-face discussions over there in KubeCon. The implementation side, I already had an implementation PR. It would be pretty straightforward. But yeah, so I'm trying to track what we have here. Project, and let me share the link on the chat, maybe on the notes as well.
So what about something like integration with GitHub? How do you see that working? Would that be handled at the SDK level, or would there be some sort of service that can translate events from GitHub to CDEvents?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have an effort. It was started by Brad, I think, to implement some kind of adapter. So kind of a GitHub application that you could install and from the webhook emit CDEvents. But that's not complete yet. But that would be kind of the initial approach for us. We went and talked to GitHub and GitLab at conferences about CDEvents. But yeah, so far, that's not received plans for integrations. Our hope is that if we get enough adoptions by end users, and end users asking for CDEvents being in vendor products, and then that will create enough momentum then to go and talk again to like larger vendors and say, well, look, users are asking for this. So
Gotcha. Okay.
So there is a dedicated repo under CDEvents called GitHub Action. I also pasted the link to the issue that references that now. But that's for
okay.
the GitHub Action version of the integration then.
Gotcha.
I was wondering, Andrea, have you talked to people from JFrog lately, or with Lori, sorry, maybe? Since we had a meeting with some people from JFrog some time ago regarding CDEvents without factory. Have you had any more communication with them?
No, that's a great question. I need to follow up on that.
If you meet them on KubeCon, I guess we can talk about it there.
Yeah.
To find some people there.
Yeah, I need to check what the status is there. Yeah, so there's been some restructuring at JFrog as well, but yeah, I need to follow up basically. So let me maybe take an action here. Cool. All right. All right, so I think we mentioned this already. Let me put this down. All right. Yeah, connecting events. I don't know, since Ben is not here, is anything to mention about that proposal?
I saw that Ben had contributed some updates to the PR, but I haven't actually, unfortunately, looked at them yet. I had hoped to do it before this meeting today, but other priorities came in the way. So I haven't. I hope I can do it later the week anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So for the ticket approvals proposal, I linked this ticket this issue that we have here. So thanks for that, Sean. And do you have any update for us?
Just a small update. We started working on the actual proposal. I can give you a link to that. Let's see here. Yeah, not much to discuss yet. We're just trying to come up with like what the events might actually look like. So I don't know if you want to take a look now, or we can do some more work on it before get it as a group if you want.
As you wish. I'm happy to open it now if you want to look at it now.
It's pretty rough.
Prefer...
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, we can wait then once it's more ready for the review. That's fine. Cool. Thanks for the update. The other thing that I added to the agenda is maybe planning for 04. I think it would be great to do another release of CDEvents this year. But yeah, I guess it depends on the connecting events proposal. But I was hoping maybe we could make a target date for it. Was thinking something like end of November, trying to give us like a date we could try to follow. We have a CD have event in Japan the beginning of December.
Right.
So I guess it would be nice to have a new release out with a new feature to announce. At least to, publicize there.
Mhm.
Any thoughts?
Sure, let's aim for it. Given the latest pace of improving things in CDEvents, we don't do it well. We don't have too much time to spend, unfortunately, it seems. But let's try anyway. I guess it requires that we more or less finish the connecting events proposal in a week or two, which sounds like a bit of a stretch, but let's try it. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, now I'll go back to the review of that proposal as well. Yeah, I think that this hopefully we are quite close. Yeah, might be a
We
stretch.
talked before about OpenSSF related collaborations. Do you think there's anything there that would render any updates of the protocol soon?
Possibly. I guess the main thing that comes to mind for me would be something we discussed before, so the ability to link the SBOM in the artifacts events.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something that we should be relatively straightforward to add.
Is there a proposed SBOM syntax from Guac then, or is it SPDX that is the proposed version, or is it Cyclone DX or any other alternative? Or I mean, what should such a reference look like? Should it be like SPDX specific, you think, or should it be more generic?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer, to be honest. I would expect to be like supporting the various formats that are available in terms of SBOM. Okay.
I guess if you would consume an event that references an SBOM, you anyway need to have some kind of guidance on what format is expected when you follow a certain reference there. So I guess the reference itself needs to somehow contain the format then, or
I see.
something like that, right?
Okay, I see.
But I guess that could be sorted out.
Well, that's certainly something I can reach out to Michael and ask, basically, what I would format for this would be, and yeah.
I guess there is no preferred registry for SBOM documents, right? That you can have like a well-known repository or registry structure that you refer to, or I guess that's totally free still.
I think so. So you can store them in different places, but like one way is to store them on OCI registries, for instance. So what we do, for instance, with Tecton, when we build Tecton images, we store the container image in the OCI registry, and next to it, we also store the SBOM and the attestation,
Mm.
and they're linked by the SHA kind of.
Right. I guess there was, or there maybe is a, within the Ortelius project, for example, isn't there some functionality there to reference SBOMs for an artifact? I don't remember wrong now.
Yes, I think so. And
If we
in fact,
do
yeah,
that, that's one way to reference an SBOM as well through an Ortelius registry or whatever it's called.
Mm.
But that's just if you use Ortelius, then of course.
yeah. But you're right. So I think this could be like a low-hanging fruit, maybe a good candidate to include in the upcoming release. So I'll follow up on that.
Good.
Oh, thanks. Right. Next item on the agenda, implementing CDEvents.
Yeah. I guess I was just curious. So like the documents they have don't really go into any detail on how CDEvents would actually be implemented, as far as like the technologies and architecture. So I was just curious, I guess, do you plan on providing any of that? Or for anybody who's actually implemented CDEvents, like, is there any guidance available? Also curious, like, as far as like partitioning things, like should all events get sent to the same topic, or would it be better to split things up? Just curious if I can learn from anybody else's successes or failures at this point.
Looking for some kind of best practice deployment platform, right? Or deployment setup.
Yeah, how would you actually implement like an event-based CI/CD platform?
Mm-hmm. I guess in Ericsson we don't have any experience so far with CDEvents. We haven't started using CDEvents in any production yet, but we have quite some years of experience with the other event protocol, this IFL protocol that we use, which you could maybe share some about. I'm not sure if the way we do it is the best practice for CDEvents. I can't really say, but yeah, maybe there's something to squeeze out there.
Right. The other thing we could ask our friends at Fidelity if they have any best practice that they can share about what they're building with Jenkins and CDEvents. So.
Okay. Yeah, I was also going to ask Ben. He's actually done anything yet? Seems like he might be a little further along. But
yes.
Yeah, currently we just kind of have a Kafka topic and we're just dumping everything there. Just wondering as we add more stuff there, if it makes any sense to split that out into separate topics.
Potentially, at least it sounds like we would probably need some place to store such best practices soon, right? So if that should be in a MD document for easy update, or if we should have a dedicated repo for it, I'm not sure how to deal with it. But it sounds like a very good suggestion, at least to share such best practice somewhere.
Great.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, yeah, we have like a CDF end user forum that is for like end users to share like stories or experiences, but that's more in general with CI/CD, so it's not CDEvent specific. So maybe you could start something like that for CDEvents, or we could start with like documenting what we have today, and if we see that there is a lot to discuss, we could even start a working group dedicated to that.
We also have the best practices site for CD Foundation, right? Which aims to somehow provide best practices on continuous delivery on a broad scale, but I guess some details as well. There is not much there, I guess, yet about CDEvents, but that could at least be a place to add such things, I think, as well.
Yeah. Let me share the link. Foundation practices.
It's there.
Oh, thank you. Right. Yeah, so another thing that we started but kind of we need to work on is a reference architecture that is also part of the best practices umbrella. And the idea is to show what kind of the building blocks would be and how CDEvents would fit in there as well. But yeah, so that's also in progress or kind of starting.
Is it in progress or is it like stalled or paused?
There is a kind of top-down start of the reference architecture, but we wanted to start building a more like view from starting from like capabilities and functionalities that you have and how they connect together, and you know how they work with the and possibly through CDEvents. But yeah, so the kind of documentation we have about how to use CDEvents is the CDEvents primer. So I guess one option could be to expand on that. Like what kind of problem we are trying to solve, relations to cloud events, versioning, extending CDEvents, adopting CDEvents. And so maybe we could have a section here about like architecture, design decision when implementing CDEvents. That could be a starting point, and if we see that it grows and we have a lot of things that we want to put, maybe we could even create a separate page or repository. But maybe to start, it could make sense to have it in the primer. What do you think?
I think that would be helpful.
The location isn't the most important, I guess, too. The most important is to get started with it, I guess, and have some place to write wherever.
Yeah.
It could easily be moved afterwards.
Right. So I said Fidelity might have some insight to share. SAS, they don't use CDEvents today, but they build their internal platform on events as well, and so they joined they're very interested in CDEvents because that's basically the standard that they were looking for maybe 2-3 years ago that didn't exist at the time. So they might have some valuable insight as well to share. So I think it's worth reaching out to maybe Jer on Fidelity side and Brett on SAS side and see if they'd be interested in contributing to this.
Awesome.
Yeah, great. Oh, exciting that you're asking this question, Sean.
Yeah, we're
I
ready to
think
start building
that's-
something.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, you're among the first in this space, so I guess it's, you know, bringing innovation in this space, and so there's not as much yet, but hopefully we can build as we go.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to know, really.
Great. Anything else you guys would like to chat about today?
From my perspective.
I can think of.
Right. So let me just one last thing just came to mind. I think next week, Monday's the 6th. Yeah. Yeah, next week, unfortunately, I won't be able to join the meeting. I will be flying to Chicago on the way.
Where's home for you, Andrea?
I'm in Cardiff in the UK. What about you, Sean?
This autumn, right?
I'm in New York.
Yeah.
North America,
Oh.
back and forth, and then Japan as well, and lots of places.
Yeah, busy conference summer season this fall.
You
Yeah.
will go Christmas shopping in Japan then, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll probably do, because then I mean my wife, she's from South America, so we'll be spending Christmas there.
Oh, wow.
So
Traveling many times
So-
across the Atlantic. Yeah.
so Japan is a good place to get some present for the family then.
I see.
Should be nice and warm in South America, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, my wife's family, they're in Bogota, in Colombia, which is up on the Andes Mountains, which is kind of springish type of weather throughout the year. So yeah, it's nice. But if you just go down the mountains, then it's really warm. It's really hot.
At least during summer. Now it's anyway winter there as well, right? It's in the north of the equator. Still. Or is it really warm though, you think? Down there now?
In Colombia?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't change very much throughout the year. So if you go like in places like on the coast, Cartagena, for instance,
Okay.
it's on the Caribbean coast, and I think it's pretty warm throughout the year.
Nice. Okay.
All right. Well, good to see you guys, and yeah, I'll follow up on my actions, but I'll see you in a couple of weeks then.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Have a good flight
Thank
next
you.
week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.